The stars looked peaceful from the bridge of the Vrax patrol ship. Commander Zixthar watched the viewing screen with 3 of his 4 eyes, while the 4th monitored the sensor displays. Nothing ever happened in this part of space. The neutral zone was empty, boring, and exactly where the Covenant wanted it to be. Zixthar had served in the Vrax Dominion fleet for 30 cycles. His scaled skin had turned from bright green to a dull olive color, a sign of his age and experience. He commanded a crew of 40 soldiers, all of them bored with patrol duty. They flew the same routes every rotation, checking for violations that never came. The galaxy had been at peace for 300 years. 300 years since the last Great War, when millions died and entire planets burned. After that horror, the major species created the Covenant of Stars. It was simple. Everyone agreed to limit their weapons, share their space, and never fight again. 4 species ruled the galaxy under the Covenant. The Vrax Dominion, reptilian and proud, controlled the eastern spiral arm. The Kalith swarm, insect-like beings with hive minds, dominated the western regions. The Thaler Collective, creatures made of living crystal, held the core worlds. The Seraph Empire, bird-like and graceful, claimed the outer rim. Together, they made the rules. No weapons above Class 7 destructive power. All ships must broadcast identification signals. No artificial intelligence in warfare. No expansion into neutral zones. No exceptions. These laws kept the peace. Every species followed them. Every species except one. Zixthar's console beeped. A message from Covenant Central Command appeared on his screen. It was a standard notice about the quarantine zone. He read it without much interest. The quarantine covered a small yellow star system near the edge of mapped space. Inside that system lived a species called humans. The humans were trouble. Everyone in the fleet knew this. They came from a planet called Earth, a world that should not support advanced life. The planet had extreme weather, dangerous animals, and violent geological activity. Yet somehow humans thrived there. They evolved from predators, hunters who chased their prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. 50 years ago, a Thalor science expedition found Earth. They studied the humans from orbit, watching with growing concern. Humans fought each other constantly. They had weapons everywhere. Their entire history was one long story of war, conquest, and conflict. Every generation invented new ways to kill. The Covenant Council made a decision. Humanity was too dangerous to join galactic society. They needed time to evolve, to become peaceful like the other species. So the Council placed a quarantine around Earth's solar system. No human ships could leave. No alien ships could enter without permission. The humans were trapped in their own system until they learned to be civilized. That was 50 years ago. As far as Zixthar knew, the humans were still locked in their cage, slowly learning to be better. His second officer, a young Vrax named Pelthar, approached his station. "Commander, the sensor sweep is complete." "Nothing to report." "Good," Zixthar replied. "Run it again in 1 hour." "Yes, Commander." Zixthar settled back in his chair. Another boring day in an endless series of boring days. He wondered if he would retire before anything interesting happened. Probably. 2,000 light-years away in the Kalith home cluster, Admiral Krelith received a very different message. His communication officer, a young Kalith worker designated as Unit 7734, brought the alert to his attention immediately. "Admiral, we have detected an unknown signature near Sector 447. Krelith's antennae twitched with interest. Unknown signatures were rare. Everything in the galaxy had a signature, a unique energy pattern that identified it. "Show me," he commanded. The holographic display activated above his command platform. The signature appeared as a pulsing red dot. The computer analysis scrolled beside it. Power output extreme. Hull composition unknown. Identification signal none. "This is a treaty violation," Krelith said. His mandibles clicked together, a sign of annoyance. "No ship may operate without broadcasting identification. Send a patrol to investigate." Unit 7734 hesitated. "Admiral, the power readings are unusual. This signature is far stronger than any registered vessel. Then it is a serious violation. Assemble response fleet Delta, 73 ships. We will handle this personally." Within 2 hours, the Kalith Armada formed up in space. 73 warships, each one a marvel of elegant engineering. Their hulls reflected starlight beautifully. Their weapons were precise and powerful, limited only by the Covenant treaties. They could destroy any threat known to exist. Admiral Krelith sent messages to the other Covenant species. This was protocol. When investigating a violation, observers from each major power should witness the response. It prevented accusations of favoritism or abuse of power. The Vrak sent Commander Zixthar. The Thaler sent Observer Unit Crystalline 449. The Seraph sent Wing Leader Aristhal. All of them joined the Kelith fleet as it jumped through fold space toward Sector 447. The journey took 6 hours. When they emerged, every sensor on every ship locked onto the target immediately. What they saw made no sense. The ship hung in the void like a piece of night itself. It was huge, nearly 3 kilometers from bow to stern. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, with sharp angles and hard edges. There were no curves, no artistic flourishes, no beauty. It looked like something built purely to kill. Zixthar stared at the viewing screen from his observer ship. His scales rippled with unease. "What is that?" "Unknown design," his sensor operator reported. "No match in any database. Hull composition includes metals we cannot identify. Energy signature is off all our charts. Commander, this thing is putting out enough power to run a small city. Can you identify what species built it?" "Negative. The design philosophy is unlike anything we have seen. Admiral Krelith broadcast on all frequencies. Unidentified vessel. This is Admiral Krelith of the Kalith Swarm acting under Covenant authority. You are in violation of multiple treaties. Power down your systems and prepare for inspection." "Silence," Krelith repeated the message. Still nothing. Then slowly the dark ship rotated. Its bow turned toward the Kelith fleet. Along the side of the hull, letters appeared in a language none of them recognized. The computer worked to translate. "Translation complete," Unit 7734 announced. The text reads, "United Nations Starship Defiance, United Nations." Crystalline 449's voice chimed like bells. "That is a human designation." Every bridge went silent. 73 warships full of experienced soldiers all had the same thought. This cannot be real. "The humans are quarantined," Aristhal said, her feathers ruffling. "They do not have the technology for this. They barely achieved fusion power when we last checked." "Then they have been hiding their progress," Krelith replied. "Or they stole technology. Either way, they are in violation. They must submit to authority." Inside the human ship, Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair and watched the alien fleet on his displays. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm blue eyes. He had served in the Earth Navy before joining the United Nations Space Command. He knew what was about to happen. He had trained for this moment for 5 years. "They are hailing us again, Captain," said Lieutenant Nina Hayes. She was young, barely 30, with dark hair tied back in a regulation bun. Her console showed all the alien transmissions, automatically translated by the ship's computer. "What do they want?" Jake asked, though he already knew. "They want us to power down and submit to inspection. They claim authority under something called the Covenant of Stars. Tell them no." Nina's fingers hesitated over her console. "Sir? Tell them no, Lieutenant. We are a sovereign vessel of the United Nations Space Command. We do not recognize their authority. We are in neutral space, which means we have every right to be here. If they want us to leave, they can ask nicely." Nina swallowed hard and sent the message. The response came quickly. Jake listened to the translation. The aliens were angry. They were not used to being refused. They were threatening consequences. "First Officer Carter," Jake said calmly, "bring weapons online. Set point defense to automatic. Charge the main batteries to 30%. Ben Carter, a solid man with dark skin and steady hands, worked his console. "Weapons online, Captain. Point defense active. Main batteries charging." "Medical, are you ready?" Jake asked. Dr. Lisa Grant's voice came through the intercom. "Medbay is ready, Captain. Though I hope we will not need it. Engineering status?" Claire Watson answered immediately. "Fusion cores at optimal. All systems green." "We are ready for anything, Captain." Jake nodded. He looked at the tactical display showing 73 alien ships surrounding his vessel. They thought numbers gave them power. They were about to learn differently. "Captain, they are demanding we comply immediately," Nina reported. "They say this is our final warning. Reply as follows," Jake said quietly. "This is the UNS Defiance. We have nothing to discuss with you. Withdraw from our position or accept the consequences." The message was sent. On 73 bridges, alien commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. No one defied the Covenant. No one. Admiral Krelith made his decision. "All ships prepare to fire warning shots. Target their engines. We will disable this vessel and teach the humans their place. Commander Zixthar watched from his observer ship and felt his scales. The darkness of space erupted with light. 20 Keyleth warships fired everything they had at the human vessel. Plasma cannons glowed hot. Energy beams cut through the void. Missiles streaked forward on trails of fire. It was beautiful and terrible, enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. The weapons never reached their target. From the hull of the UNS Defiance, thousands of small turrets activated. They moved with mechanical precision, tracking incoming fire. Then they spoke. The sound did not travel in space, but inside every alien ship, sensors screamed warnings. The point defense system fired. Thousands of small projectiles launched from the human ship. They were simple things. Just metal slugs accelerated to incredible speeds. But at those speeds, simple became deadly. The railgun rounds tore through the incoming missiles, detonating them safely away from the Defiance. They shredded the energy beams, disrupting their cohesion. They even intercepted the plasma bolts, the kinetic impacts dispersing the superheated gas before it could reach the hull. In 3 seconds, the entire bombardment was neutralized. 20 Keyleth warships stopped firing. Their weapons crews stared at their displays in confusion. What had just happened? Commander Zixthar watched from his observer ship, his 4 eyes wide. Did they just shoot down energy weapons? Affirmative, Commander, his sensor operator replied, voice shaking. They used kinetic projectiles moving at 0.3 light speed. The impacts created enough force to disperse the plasma and break up the beam coherence. That should not be possible. Yet we just witnessed it. Admiral Krelith's antennae vibrated with rage. The humans had embarrassed him. In front of observers from 3 other species, his fleet had been made to look weak. This could not stand. All ships, continuous fire, he ordered. Do not stop until that ship is destroyed. Admiral, perhaps we should reconsider. Unit 7734 suggested carefully. This vessel has capabilities we do not understand. It is one ship, Krelith snapped. We are 73. Mathematics is on our side. Fire. The Kelith fleet opened up with everything. Not just 20 ships now, but all 73. The space between the fleets became a storm of weapons fire. Plasma, lasers, particle beams, kinetic missiles, everything the Covenant allowed. It was the most destructive barrage ever seen in peacetime. The UNS Defiance's point defense system worked without rest. Thousands of rounds per second, each one precisely targeted. The ship's computers tracked every incoming threat, calculated intercept solutions, and fired. The defensive fire was so thick it looked like a wall of metal. But some weapons got through. A plasma bolt struck the Defiance's starboard side. A laser scored its bow. 3 missiles impacted near the engines. The alien crews cheered, then the smoke cleared. The human ship was still there, undamaged. Whatever it was made of, whatever shields it had, the Covenant weapons could not hurt it. Inside the Defiance, Captain Jake Morrison watched his tactical display with calm eyes. His ship was taking fire from 73 warships. His shields were at 92%. His armor had not been scratched. The alien weapons were like throwing rocks at a tank. Captain, they are maintaining continuous fire, Lieutenant Nina Hayes reported. Let them waste their ammunition, Jake replied. Tactical, do we have firing solutions? Lieutenant Alex Torres looked up from his console. He was a slim man with quick hands and quicker eyes. Yes, sir. I have identified their flagship and 37 priority targets. Waiting for your order. Weapon status? Ben Carter checked his displays. Main batteries charged to 30% as ordered. Point defense is handling their attack easily. We could go to full power in 2 minutes. No need, Jake said quietly. 30% will be enough. We are not here to commit genocide. We are here to send a message. He paused, looking at the alien fleet on his screen. Somewhere on those ships were living beings, soldiers just doing their jobs. He did not want to kill them, but he would if they did not learn their lesson. Tactical Fire Solution Alpha. Target their flagship and 6 escorts. Disable, do not destroy. Fire when ready. Yes, sir, firing. The UNS Defiance stopped being a defensive target and became a weapon. Along its hull, 6 massive cannons extended. They were railguns. Electromagnetic accelerators that could throw projectiles at a significant fraction of light speed. But these were not the small rounds of the point defense system. These were kill vehicles, each one weighing several tons. The cannons fired. There was no dramatic light show, no explosions. The projectiles were simply there, and then they were not. Already too far away to see. They crossed the distance to the Keyleth fleet in less than a second. The Caliph flagship shuddered as something struck it amidships. Alarms screamed across every deck. Admiral Krelith grabbed his command platform as the ship lurched sideways. Damage report. Multiple impacts, Admiral. Engineering decks 3 through 7 are gone. Weapons grid is offline. Main engines are destroyed. What hit us? Unknown, Admiral. Sensors detected mass-based projectiles. Velocity too high to measure accurately. Estimated impact force equivalent to a small nuclear device. Around the flagship, 6 escort cruisers suffered similar damage. Their engines exploded. Their weapons went dark. Their hulls were torn open. They did not explode, did not burn, just went dead in space. 30 seconds ago, they were warships. Now they were debris. The rest of the Caliph fleet stopped firing. Every commander stared at their screens, trying to understand what weapon could do that. The human ship had barely moved. It just sat there, dark and terrible, its cannons slowly tracking to new targets. Commander Zixthar pulled up the sensor data from the attack. His blood went cold as he read the analysis. "They are using kinetic weapons," he said quietly. "Kinetic weapons, Commander?" His operator asked. "Those are primitive. We abandoned such technology centuries ago." "Yes, we did, because we moved to energy weapons which are cleaner and more controllable. But we forgot something. At relativistic speeds, kinetic weapons are not primitive. They are unstoppable. Look at these impact calculations. Each projectile hit with the force of multiple fusion bombs. There is no shield in the galaxy that can stop that much kinetic energy. But the power required to accelerate mass to those speeds is beyond what the Covenant allows. That is the point. The humans never agreed to the Covenant. They have been building weapons without restrictions. While we limited ourselves, they maximized everything." Jake Morrison's voice came across all channels again, calm and professional. "Caliph vessels, this is Captain Morrison of the UNS Defiance. You have now seen what happens when you attack a human warship. We have disabled 7 of your ships without destroying them. This is mercy. If you continue hostile action, I will not be merciful again. You have 30 seconds to withdraw." Admiral Krelith's pride warred with his survival instinct. His flagship was crippled. 7 ships were disabled. The human vessel was undamaged. But retreating meant admitting defeat. It meant looking weak in front of the other species. "Admiral, we should withdraw," Unit 7734 said. "We cannot win this engagement. We are the Caliph swarm. We do not run from one ship." "Admiral, please. All remaining ships, evasive formation Delta. Focus fire on a single point. We will overwhelm their defenses through concentration." It was the worst decision Admiral Krelith ever made. The Caliph fleet reorganized, forming a tight attack formation. All ships targeted the same spot on the human vessel's hull. If they could not penetrate everywhere, perhaps they could penetrate one location through sheer volume of fire. 30 seconds are up, Jake said quietly. "They chose poorly. Tactical, you are authorized to engage. Target their engines and weapons only. If a ship attempts to flee, let it go. If a ship continues to fight, disable it." "Understood, Captain." Engaging. The UNS Defiance unleashed its full point defense network. What the aliens had seen before was nothing. Thousands became tens of thousands of rounds per second. The volume of fire was so intense it created a visible cloud of metal between the ships. Nothing could survive in that space. 3 Caliph cruisers charged forward, trying to break through the defensive fire. They lasted 4 seconds. The railgun rounds tore through their armor like paper. Their shields overloaded instantly. Their hulls came apart in explosions of atmosphere and debris. The crews never had time to scream. 5 more ships tried to flank from above. The Defiance rotated smoothly, its point defense tracking them the entire time. The ships were shredded before they got within weapons range. "They are breaking formation," Alex Torres reported. "Multiple ships attempting to retreat." "Let them go," Jake ordered. "We are not here to chase them. Focus on ships still in attack posture." The battle, if it could be called that, lasted 3 more minutes. The Caliph fleet lost 17 ships destroyed and 11 disabled. The rest scattered in every direction, jumping to fold space as fast as their engines could charge. Admiral Krelith sat in his damaged flagship, staring at the empty space where his fleet used to be. Half his ships were gone. The rest had run away. He had led the Caliph fleet for 20 cycles. He had never lost a battle. He had never even imagined losing a battle. The human ship sat in the void, undamaged, its weapons still tracking targets. It had fought 73 warships and won easily. It had not even used its full power. The battle computer estimated it had only fired. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. Within 6 hours, every major government knew about the engagement. Within 12 hours, military analysts were reviewing the battle footage. Within a day, panic was setting in. The Vrax High Council convened an emergency session. 12 elder Vrax sat in a circular chamber deep inside their home world. Commander Zixthar stood in the center, giving his report. His voice was steady, but his scales kept shifting color with stress. The human vessel designated UNS Defiance engaged a Keyleth fleet of 73 warships. The engagement lasted approximately 8 minutes. Final casualties: 17 Keyleth ships destroyed, 11 disabled, 45 retreated. Human casualties 0. Human damage 0. The council members looked at each other. High Elder Vexthar spoke first. Explain how this is possible. The Keyleth have the finest navy in the galaxy. Not anymore, Zixthar replied. The Keyleth Navy was designed under Covenant restrictions. The human navy was not. While we have spent 3 centuries maintaining peace, humans have spent 50 years preparing for war. Walk us through the human capabilities, another elder commanded. Zixthar activated a holographic display. The UNS Defiance appeared above them, rotating slowly. The ship is 3 kilometers long. Its hull is composed of metals we cannot fully identify, with what appears to be a layered armor system. Our analysis suggests it can withstand direct nuclear strikes. Its power generation is approximately 10 times what Covenant law allows. This enables shields that our weapons cannot penetrate. He zoomed in on the weapon systems. The humans use kinetic weapons almost exclusively. Railguns, magnetic accelerators, mass drivers. Technology we consider primitive. But they accelerate projectiles to relativistic speeds. At those velocities, a metal slug hits with more force than our most powerful energy weapons. There is no defense against this. Shields cannot stop that much kinetic energy. Armor cannot absorb it. What about their point defense? An elder asked. That is perhaps more frightening than their main guns. The system can fire tens of thousands of rounds per second, tracking and destroying incoming threats with perfect accuracy. The humans have weaponized what we use for asteroid deflection. They use it to create a wall nothing can penetrate. High Elder Vexthar stood. You are saying this single ship could defeat our fleet? Zixthar hesitated. Then he nodded. Yes, High Elder. 1 human warship could destroy our entire navy. And according to intercepted transmissions, they have 70 such ships. The council chamber went silent. 300 years of peace had made them soft. They had forgotten what war truly meant. Now it was standing at their door, and they were not ready. On the crystal world of Thaler Prime, the collective mind processed the same information. Thousands of crystalline beings stood in harmonic resonance, their thoughts merging into one consciousness. They reviewed the battle data, analyzing every detail. The conclusion was clear. The humans represented an existential threat, not because they were evil or aggressive, but because they were superior in the one area that mattered most: warfare. The Covenant species had evolved beyond war. Humans had perfected it. Observer Crystalline 449 shared its experiences with the collective. The terror of watching those dark weapons tear through ships. The cold efficiency of the human captain's voice. The realization that humanity had been planning this moment for decades. The collective made a decision. The Thaler would not fight humans. Fighting was illogical when defeat was certain. Instead, they would seek diplomatic solutions. They would acknowledge human sovereignty and hope for peaceful coexistence. The Seraph Empire took a different approach. Wing leader Aristhal delivered her report to the Sky Council, a gathering of the Empire's greatest military minds. Unlike the Thaler, the Seraph had maintained more of their warrior culture. They understood combat in ways the other species had forgotten. The humans fight like the ancient predators of our homeworld, Aristhal explained. They are patient, efficient, and overwhelming. They do not waste energy on displays of dominance. They simply kill what threatens them and move on. Sky Marshal Kirthas, an old warrior with silver feathers, studied the battle footage. Their tactics are sound. They allowed the enemy to exhaust themselves, then struck at decisive targets. They showed mercy only after establishing complete dominance. This is not mindless aggression. This is controlled, disciplined warfare. Should we oppose them? Another council member asked. No, Kirthas replied firmly. We should respect them. Warriors recognize warriors. The humans are not conquerors. They simply refuse to be controlled. If we treat them as equals, they will reciprocate. If we treat them as threats, we will become casualties. But the Kalith swarm disagreed. For the Hive, the defeat was unacceptable. Admiral Krelith had been stripped of rank and executed for his failure. A new admiral, Zareth, took command of what remained of the fleet. He swore vengeance. The Kelith called for an emergency covenant assembly. Representatives from all 4 species gathered in neutral space, on a massive station that had hosted peace talks for centuries. The station's name was Unity, a reminder of what the covenant represented. The Kalith ambassador, Unit 9421, addressed the assembly with cold fury. The humans have committed an act of war against the covenant. They destroyed 28 of our vessels. They ignored our authority. They must be punished. Commander Zixthar, representing the Vrax, stood to respond. With respect, the Kalith attacked first. The human ship was in neutral space, which is not Covenant territory. When fired upon, it defended itself. This is within the rights of any sovereign species. They refuse to acknowledge the Covenant, Unit 94221 countered. They build weapons beyond legal limits. They operate without identification codes. They are rogue actors. They are only rogue because we never allowed them to join, Crystalline 449 chimed in. We quarantined them without their consent. We treated them as children who needed to be contained. Perhaps this outcome was inevitable. Wing Leader Aristhal ruffled her feathers. The real question is not whether the humans were right or wrong. The question is whether we can stop them. And the answer is no. One ship defeated 73. They have 70 ships. They could sweep across the galaxy if they chose to. We must accept reality. You counsel surrender? Unit 9421's antennae vibrated with disgust. I counsel wisdom. There is a difference between surrender and negotiation. The debate continued for hours. The Kelith wanted war. The Vrax wanted caution. The Thaler wanted peace. The Seraph wanted respect. No consensus was reached. For the first time in 300 years, the Covenant could not agree on a course of action. While the aliens argued, humanity was busy. The UNS Defiance returned to Earth's moon, where the United Nations Space Command had built its headquarters inside a massive crater. Captain Jake Morrison reported directly to Admiral Chris Palmer, a gray-haired man with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. How did they react? Palmer asked. Exactly as predicted, Jake replied. Shock, denial, then acceptance. The Kelith admiral tried to save face by continuing the attack. I disabled his fleet with minimal casualties. The message was sent, Palmer nodded. Good. The analysts predict the Covenant will fracture over this. Some will seek peace. Others will want war. We need to be ready for both. In the command center, dozens of officers worked at consoles. Lieutenant Nina Hayes sat at a communication station, monitoring alien transmissions. Ben Carter coordinated with Earth's defense network. Dr. Lisa Grant consulted with other medical officers about potential alien biology they might encounter. Claire Watson worked with the engineering teams, preparing the fleet for extended operations. Strategic advisor Kate Richardson stood next to Admiral Palmer, reviewing political assessments. Sir, intelligence indicates the Kelith are mobilizing their reserve fleets. They may attempt a retaliatory strike. Let them come, Palmer replied. How many ships can they muster? Approximately 800, scattered across their territory. Palmer smiled grimly. Deploy Battle Group Alpha. 15 ships under Admiral Morrison. If the Kelith want round 2, we will educate them thoroughly. Kate hesitated. Sir, the other Covenant species are watching. If we appear too aggressive, if we appear weak, they will test us until we have to kill millions to prove otherwise. Better to be strong now. Besides, we will not fire first. If the Kelith want peace, they can have it. If they want war, we will give them that too. On Earth, the news of first contact had been released to the public. Billions of humans watched the footage of the UNS Defiance facing down an alien fleet. The reaction was mixed. Some celebrated humanity's strength. Others worried about starting an interstellar war. But most felt pride. For 50 years they had been caged. Now they were free. Secretary General Ryan Foster addressed the United Nations Assembly. Today, humanity takes its place among the stars. Not as subjects, not as children, but as equals. We did not seek conflict with the Covenant species. But when they demanded our submission, we refused. We will always refuse. No species has the right to limit human potential. No government has the authority to cage us. We are free and we will remain free. The speech was broadcast across the galaxy. Every alien government received it, translated into their languages. The message was clear. The Kelith war fleet moved through fold space like a swarm of angry insects. Admiral Zareth commanded from the dreadnought Eternal Victory, surrounded by 400 warships. It was the largest military force assembled in 300 years. The Hive's honor demanded vengeance, and vengeance would be delivered. How long until we reach the human system? Zareth asked. 32 hours, Admiral, his navigation officer reported. Excellent. Review the battle plan with all ship commanders. We will overwhelm them with numbers. One ship defeated 73 because we were not prepared. 400 ships coordinated and focused will crush any defense they mount. Unit 5532, his tactical advisor, clicked its mandibles nervously. Admiral Intelligence suggests the humans have more than one warship. I do not care if they have 10. We have 400. The mathematics favor us. What Admiral Zareth did not know was that human intelligence had tracked his fleet from the moment it left Kelith space. Long-range stealth probes hidden throughout alien territory watched everything. By the time the Kelith entered fold space, Earth already knew they were coming. Admiral Chris Palmer stood in the Lunar Command Center, studying the tactical display. 15 ships of Battle Group Alpha were already in position between Earth and the incoming Kelith fleet. 15 human warships against 400 alien vessels. The numbers looked bad. The reality was very different. All ships report ready, Captain Jake Morrison said from the bridge of the UNS Defiance. Around him, 14 other human warships floated in perfect formation. Each one was a match for the Defiance in firepower and armor. Together they represented humanity's sword arm, ready to cut down anyone who threatened Earth. Captain Morrison, you have tactical command, Palmer said. Rules of engagement, the Kelith must fire first. Once they do, you are authorized to use all necessary force to eliminate the threat. Make it quick, make it decisive. Show the galaxy what happens when you attack humanity's home. Understood, Admiral. We will not disappoint. Palmer turned to Beth Manning. Is the sword protocol ready? Yes, sir. All systems are online. If the battle group fails, Earth will not fall. Palmer nodded. The sword protocol was humanity's final insurance policy. Deep beneath Earth's surface in bunkers scattered across the planet, weighted weapons that made the battle group look gentle. Kinetic bombardment platforms, fusion mines, antimatter missiles, and things even more terrible. If the Kelith somehow defeated the fleet and reached Earth, they would find a world that could defend itself. A world that would take its attackers with it, if necessary. Commander Zixthar received the same intelligence about the Kelith fleet. He immediately requested an emergency meeting with the Vrax High Council. He was granted audience within the hour. Honored elders, the Kelith are making a terrible mistake. They are attacking Earth with 400 ships. The humans will destroy them. High Elder Vexthar seemed unconcerned. 400 ships is a massive force. Surely the humans cannot stand against such numbers. Honored Elder, you have seen the battle reports. One human ship disabled 73 Kelith vessels easily. The humans have been preparing for this moment for 50 years. They want the Kelith to attack. It gives them justification for what comes next. What comes next? Total war. The humans will not stop at defense. They will counterattack. They will strike Kelith military installations, destroy their fleets, and break their ability to wage war. And once the galaxy sees that, everyone will understand that the humans cannot be opposed. The council was silent. Finally, Vexthar spoke. Send a message to the Kelith. Warn them to turn back. Tell them they are flying to their deaths. I have already tried, Honored Elder. They will not listen. The Hive's pride demands blood. They will have it, but it will be their own. 27 hours later, the Kelith fleet emerged from fold space at the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Zareth studied his sensors with satisfaction. The star system spread before him, with the small blue planet visible in the distance. Between his fleet and that planet were 15 human warships. Only 15 ships, he said with satisfaction. They cannot possibly hope to stop us. Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet. Put it through. Captain Jake Morrison's face appeared on every Kelith view screen. He looked calm, almost bored. Kelith vessels. This is Captain Morrison of the United Nations Space Command. You have entered human sovereign space with hostile intent. You are ordered to withdraw immediately. This is your only warning, Admiral Zareth laughed. Human captain, you face 400 warships with merely 15. Surrender now, and we may show mercy. We do not surrender, and if you value the lives of your crews, you will turn around. You are outmatched. Outmatched. You are either insane or stupid. Jake's expression did not change. Actually, I am experienced. I have already fought your ships. I know exactly what they can do. You do not know what we can do. Last chance, Admiral. Withdraw or accept the consequences. Zareth cut the transmission. All ships, battle formation Omega. We will show these primitives the power of the swarm. Prepare to fire. 400 Keyleth warships spread into an attack formation. It was a beautiful sight, elegant and precise. Thousands of weapons powered up. The space between the fleets began to glow with energy as the Keyleth charged their weapons. On Earth, billions of humans watched through live feeds. In the Lunar Command Center, Admiral Palmer sat with his hands folded, waiting. In cities across the planet, people held their breath. This was it. The moment when humanity proved itself or fell. The Keyleth fleet fired. 400 ships, thousands of weapons, all firing at once. The volume of energy was incredible. It was the single largest weapons barrage in galactic history. It should have vaporized the human fleet instantly. It did not even come close. Battle Group Alpha activated in perfect synchronization. 15 ships, their point defense systems working as one unified network. The defensive fire was so intense it looked like a solid wall. Tens of thousands of railgun rounds per second from each ship. Hundreds of thousands total. The space between the fleets became a cloud of metal moving at relativistic speeds. The Keyleth weapons fire hit that wall and stopped. Plasma bolts were dispersed. Energy beams were disrupted. Missiles were shredded. Not a single shot reached the human ships. The defensive fire was perfect, absolute, unbreakable. Admiral Zareth stared at his sensors in disbelief. How? That volume of fire should overwhelm any defense. Admiral, their defensive system is more advanced than we calculated. They are using networked targeting, sharing sensor data between all ships. They are acting as one entity. Then we fire more. All ships, maximum rate of fire. Do not stop. The Keyleth fleet unleashed everything. For 30 seconds they fired without pause. Enough energy to sterilize a planet was thrown at the human formation. And for 30 seconds the human point defense held. Not a single shot penetrated. Then the humans returned fire. 15 ships, each with 6 main railgun batteries. 90 cannons total. They fired in sequence, creating a rolling barrage that lasted 10 seconds. 90 projectiles. Each one accelerated to 0.7 light speed, slammed into the Keyleth fleet. The front rank of the Keyleth formation simply ceased to exist. 27 ships were hit. At those speeds, at that mass, at that kinetic energy, there was no survival. Hulls were torn apart. Reactors exploded. Entire ships were shattered into debris clouds. One moment they were there. The next they were gone. The Keyleth fleet stopped firing. Every commander stared at the space where 27 ships used to be. The humans had fired one volley, and destroyed 27 vessels. All ships evasive maneuvers. Zareth ordered, "Spread formation, do not cluster." The fleet began to scatter. But the human ships adjusted their formation smoothly, maintaining perfect coverage. Their point defense never faltered. Their cannons tracked new targets. "Admiral, we cannot win this engagement," Unit 5532 said quietly. "We must withdraw. The Hive does not retreat. The Hive does not exist if we are all dead." The human fleet fired again. Another 90 projectiles. Another 27 ships destroyed. The Keyleth fleet, which had seemed so mighty just minutes ago, was being systematically dismantled. On the UNS Defiance, Lieutenant Alex Torres called out targets with mechanical precision. Priority targets identified. Firing solutions locked. Executing. Ben Carter monitored the weapons systems. Main batteries recharging. Point defense operating at 60% capacity. We have plenty of ammunition remaining. Their fleet is starting to break formation, Nina Hayes reported. Multiple ships are attempting to retreat. Jake nodded. Let them go. Focus fire on ships maintaining attack posture. We are here to defend Earth, not commit genocide. Any ship that runs gets to live. It was a mercy the Keyleth did not deserve, but Jake gave it anyway. This was not about killing. It was about teaching. The lesson was simple. Do not attack humanity. For 5 more minutes, the battle continued. The word battle was generous. It was more like an execution. The human ships moved with coordinated precision, their defensive fire never missing, their offensive weapons never wasting a shot. Each volley destroyed exactly the number of targets it was meant to destroy. The Kelith fleet, meanwhile, was coming apart. Ships that tried to fight. 6 months passed. 6 months that changed the galaxy forever. The Kelith swarm never recovered from the Battle of Earth. Their military power was broken, their confidence shattered. The hive mind that had ruled for centuries began to fracture. Different queens started making independent decisions. Some wanted revenge, others wanted peace. The unity that made the Kelith strong was gone. In the end, the pragmatic queens won. A delegation arrived at the edge of human space, broadcasting peaceful intentions. They came in civilian vessels, unarmed and humble. Admiral Chris Palmer met with them on Unity Station, the same place where the Covenant had debated humanity's fate. The Kelith Queen Speaker approached Palmer with her head lowered, antennae drooping in submission. "Admiral Palmer, I come bearing the swarm's surrender." Palmer studied the alien carefully. "We are not at war. There is nothing to surrender. We attacked your home world. We lost 170 ships. By Covenant law, we must offer reparations. Keep your reparations, we do not want them. What we want is simple: recognition of human sovereignty, open borders for trade, and a promise of non-aggression. Can you provide these things?" "Yes, Admiral. The swarm will honor these terms." Palmer nodded. "Then we have peace. The past is done. Let us build a better future." The Queen Speaker's antennae rose slightly in surprise. The humans could have demanded tribute, territory, or total submission. Instead, they asked only for respect. It was not what she expected from a warrior species. Perhaps humans were more complex than the Covenant believed. The other species watched the negotiations carefully. They had all sent diplomats to Unity Station, competing for humanity's favor. Everyone wanted to be the first to establish formal relations with the newcomers. Commander Zixthar represented the Vrax Dominion. He met with Secretary General Ryan Foster in a private chamber. The two sat across from each other, human and reptilian, trying to find common ground. "Secretary Foster, the Vrax government wishes to apologize for humanity's quarantine. We supported the policy in ignorance. We did not understand your species." Ryan smiled slightly. "Commander, you were right to fear us. We are dangerous. But danger and evil are not the same thing. We fight when threatened. We protect what is ours, but we do not seek to dominate others. Your restraint at the Battle of Earth proves this. You could have destroyed the entire Kelith fleet. You chose not to. We destroyed 170 ships. That is not restraint. You allowed 230 to escape. That is the definition of restraint." Ryan leaned back in his chair. "Commander, let me be honest with you. Earth spent 50 years preparing for war. We built ships, trained crews, and developed weapons. But we also studied your cultures, learned your languages, and tried to understand you. We knew this day would come. We wanted to be ready, not just militarily, but diplomatically. We do not want to conquer the galaxy. We just want to be part of it. Then the Vrax Dominion offers friendship. We propose opening trade routes, sharing scientific knowledge, and establishing embassies. We have much to learn from each other. Agreed. Send your best diplomats. We will do the same." Similar conversations happened throughout Unity Station. The Thaler Collective, beings of living crystal, resonated with Kate Richardson about mathematics and physics. The Seraph Empire's Sky Marshal Keirtha spoke with Defense Coordinator Beth Manning about military doctrine and strategy. Slowly, carefully, humans and aliens found ways to understand each other. But not all conversations were easy. There was distrust to overcome, cultural differences to navigate, and old fears to address. The biggest issue was technology. The Covenant's technology limits had kept the peace for 3 centuries. Every species agreed to cap their weapons development. But humans had ignored those limits. Now they had ships that could defeat entire fleets. The other species were terrified of what would happen if humanity kept advancing. Admiral Palmer addressed the Covenant Council directly. Representatives from all 4 major species sat in the assembly hall, watching the human admiral with wary eyes. "I understand your concerns," Palmer said. You worry that humanity will use our technological advantage to dominate the galaxy. You worry that we will become conquerors. These fears are not unreasonable. But let me offer you a different perspective. He activated a holographic display showing human history, cities rising and falling, wars fought and ended, civilizations building, destroying, rebuilding. It was a violent history, but also a hopeful one. We humans have been fighting each other for 10,000 years. We have built empires and watched them collapse. We have created weapons that could destroy our entire planet. And we have learned something from all that pain and destruction. We learned that conquest is empty, victory is temporary, peace is precious. The display changed to show Earth from space, beautiful and blue. That is our home. That is what we fought for, what we built our fleet to defend. We do not want your worlds. We do not need your resources. Earth gives us everything we need. What we want from you is simple: trade, knowledge, and respect. In return, we offer the same. High Elder Vexthar of the Vrax spoke. Admiral, what if another species threatens the Covenant? Will humanity defend us? Palmer considered the question carefully. If one of you is attacked unjustly, humanity will stand with you. Not because we seek war, but because we believe in justice. We will not allow aggressive conquest, not by us and not by anyone else. The galaxy is big enough for all of us to thrive. And if we asked you to limit your weapons development as we have done, then we would refuse. We will not handicap ourselves again. But we will also not abuse our advantage. Our ships are defensive, not offensive. We build to protect, not to conquer. You will have to trust us on this. The Thaler representative chimed in, its crystalline body resonating with harmonic tones. Trust must be earned. Then watch us. Judge us by our actions, not your fears. Time will prove whether humans are worthy of trust. The Treaty of Sol was signed 3 weeks later. It was a complex document, but the core principles were simple. Humanity was recognized as a sovereign species with full rights in the galactic community. Human ships could travel freely through Covenant space. Trade would be open between all species. Military alliances were optional but encouraged, and most importantly, no species would attempt to restrict human development. In return, humanity agreed to defensive protocols. Human warships would not enter alien territory without permission. Humans would not claim planets already inhabited by other species. Disputes would be resolved through diplomacy first, force last, and humanity would respect the cultures and sovereignty of other species. Captain Jake Morrison attended the signing ceremony. He stood with other human officers, watching the diplomats seal the agreement. Beside him, Lieutenant Nina Hayes whispered, "Do you think it will last? The treaty? Yes. The peace? Maybe. Depends on us." "What do you mean?" "We scared them into negotiating. Fear works in the short term, but long-term peace requires more than fear. It requires respect, trust, and mutual benefit. We need to prove we are worth knowing, not just worth fearing." Nina smiled. "When did you become a philosopher, Captain?" "When I stopped being just a warrior. Back on Earth, life was changing rapidly. The quarantine was over. Humans could finally explore the galaxy. Civilian ships began construction, designed for trade and exploration rather than war. Universities established alien studies programs. Languages were learned. Cultural exchanges were planned. Lieutenant Alex Torres left the military to become a translator. His gift for understanding alien communication patterns made him invaluable in diplomatic circles. Ben Carter stayed with the fleet, but focused on training rather than combat. He taught new recruits how to operate humanity's warships, always emphasizing responsibility and restraint. Dr. Lisa Grant joined a medical exchange program, working with alien doctors to understand different biologies. Claire Watson led a team of engineers who shared human technology with other species, carefully selecting what to reveal and what to keep secret. Not everything should be shared. Some knowledge was too dangerous. Commander Zixthar became the Vrax ambassador to Earth. He established the first alien embassy in Geneva, a beautiful building that blended Vrax and human architecture. He spent his days building bridges between species, teaching aliens about human culture and teaching humans about galactic society. One evening he invited Admiral Palmer for dinner. They sat in the embassy garden, eating food from both their worlds, talking about the future. "Do you miss your homeworld?" Palmer asked. Zixthar's scales shifted to a contemplative blue. "Sometimes, but I believe this work is important. 50 years ago we made a mistake. We judged your species without understanding you. I want to make sure that mistake is never repeated. We made mistakes too. We could have tried harder to communicate. Instead, we focused on building weapons. You had reason to. We imprisoned you in your own system. Any species would resent that." Palmer sipped his wine. "The question is, what now? We have peace, but it is fragile. One incident, one misunderstanding, and it could all fall apart. Then we must be vigilant. We must keep talking, keep learning, keep building trust. It is slow work, but it is necessary." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, looking at the stars above.